First of all, when Gary said that I've been doing this for donkeys, I'm sure he didn't. I'm sure he didn't mean you lot. He meant donkey's years. The other thing I've got to say is this was a wee bit of an experiment with the PA system that's running off a battery pack, which is just about to cut out. So if you want to move a wee bit closer, when it cuts out, you get a chance of hearing what I'm shouting instead of speaking. I'm involved heavily with the Guardians Trust of Scotland. The Guardians Trust exists so that this site gets the recognition that it's just never had. I would never have believed when I set it up, the opposition that we would have had. Two things really. Money, obviously it's going to take a hell of a money to do what we want to do in this site, probably £250,000. We'll face that. The other thing which I would never have foreseen was the amount of bureaucracy involved to try and do the simplest thing here. It took us years to get this flagpole up, to fly a saltire over the battlefield for the first time in 700 years. Why? Why does it take years to get your council to agree to put up a flagpole? We have already a package in place to floodlight the bridge. You've seen the photos on my Facebook what the bridge looks like floodlit. It's fabulous. It'd be a huge benefit to people coming to visit Stirling, to be able to see the bridge in all its glory, to be able to turn it different colours, to commemorate whatever happens at that particular day. Modern floodlight system. We've got everything in place thanks to Forth Electric in Stirling, just ready to go. We're still getting through the last of the bureaucracy with the council to get it up and done. Okay, COVID has held us up as well, we understand that. But it would be really nice to have a council on board who said, yeah, that's going to benefit Stirling, we're with you, what do you need? That was all it would take. But instead, we've got to jump through all these hoops that Gary was talking about. I've mentioned the flag, mentioned the bridge. The ultimate thing we want to do is to turn this site into a place that Scots will be proud of. People will come from all over the world and say, yeah, they've done these men proud that lie here. Because at the moment, if this is going out in the net, can you scrub this one? Some twat in the council decided it'd be a great idea to have a wood and a wildflower meadow behind us. Now when the wildflowers are in bloom, they're lovely. When we get to the commemoration of the bridge, it's wasteland. Trees, this has always been either bogland or meadow. Trees do not fit in with the history here. Now, don't tell me that trees are valuable. If you want to come to visit me in my house, I've got more trees in my garden than what's out there. I love trees. But these are in the wrong place. They wouldn't allow them in the middle of a motorway. Why allow them in the middle of one of Scotland's most important historic sites? The most important reason that we come here today, to remember the men who fell. So, at this point, I would like to ask anybody who has any floral tributes to come up, shove me out of the way, and lay them at the base of the flagpole here. After this, we'll have a minute's silence. As I said, this year we don't have the pipe band or piper with us, so you're going to have to put up with me to break the minute's silence at the end of the minute. But if I could just ask you, those of you who have flags, to lower them, and let's observe a minute's silence in memory of all those who fell here. did not close my eyes for the last time under Caledonian skies, with my good friends gathered all around me to say their last goodbyes. But I will not be forgotten in the heart of every Scot. I still live on. Now it's time to fly the Saltire high. My spirit's coming home. They tore apart my body so I could not rise on Judgment Day. But what they did not realize is now will never go away. I'm coming back to the land I love, to the people I hold dear, to Scotland, St Andrew, and freedom. I'm coming home, I'm coming home.
It's a flag change for the man here.
Back where I belong. I'm coming home, I'm coming home. My spirit's coming home. Now I'm returning after all this time to Caledonia's skies, to the country I died for, so that our nation could survive. Once again to stand beside the people I hold dear, for Scotland, St Andrew, and freedom. I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Back where I belong. I'm coming home, I'm coming home. My spirit's coming home to Scotland, St Andrew, and freedom. Back to Scotland, St Andrew, and freedom. Thank you very much. So, as I said, the Guardians of Scotland set up to hopefully improve this site and make it somewhere to be proud of. And it's going to need as much support as we can possibly get. Very hopeful, I've said this for many years, but I'm very hopeful that next year we'll actually have the lights on the bridge. Forth Electrics are ready to go as soon as we get the go-ahead. We'll get the lights up and running. Obviously we have to switch them on sometime when it's dark. So there's no point in launching the lights in the middle of summer. So if we get them done for spring, it'll be in the spring. If we don't get them done for spring, it might even be this time next year when we'll have the commemoration a wee bit later and get the lights switched on. To talk about the relevance of the site today and what it means to people coming here to visit, would you welcome please a good friend, Stevie Hughes from Freedom Tours today.
Right, thanks, Ted. I put the flag up too early last year and too late this year. You'll need to sing slower. Right. Ted asked me to say a few words today, and the only thing I could think of was to kind of welcome folk, and then he puts me on after Gary. And but he come back with tourism, and because I'm doing the tours here, I think he thought it would be a good idea for me to say a few words. And we've all come on a journey, not just to get here today from our homes. Tina and Peter from Germany, Sherry and Keith and our family from America have joined us, but we've come on a journey for, at a certain age for me, World Cup 74, that's when I fell in love with Scotland, and all the way through I've always wanted Scotland to be independent. I'm sure a lot of folk here share my views, but the reason I set up the tours is Molly there, our dog. 4 years ago I was scared of dogs. 3.5 years ago we got Molly. Kim was right, I was wrong. I now love dogs. We took her up to Bannockburn. It quickly became our favourite place in the world. Stirling Bridge is a close second, and she just loved it. And over a kind of year period, 2-year period, I could see the trickle of people that would get out their car, they would head up to the statue, shout freedom now and again like the guy passing. They would take a picture, and 15 minutes later they were leaving the village. And I thought, where's the welcome? Where's the warm hug?
We're so tired, somebody's motor
I'd like to
helping her
welcome
drink.
everyone here today, but also thank them for coming. Anybody who's watching online, thank you very much for watching online. Before I did my first tour, I got help with my old work, the Edinburgh Marathon. They do running tours in Edinburgh, and my website's pretty close to their running tour website. I just changed running to walking in Edinburgh to Stirling and Bannockburn, and we were up and walking pretty quick. But James, who does their tours in Edinburgh, he came through, and I picked him up at the station. I hadn't developed the script for Stirling Bridge. I knew more about Bannockburn, and I was thought, right, I can't cope with trying to do two things at once. I launched Bannockburn first, but I said we may as well go to Stirling Bridge, so and just see it and chat you through my ideas. And when we got here, I went, oh, that's brilliant. This is the first time I've ever been here. And I was like, what? I said, you're a tour guide with rabbits. He says, aye, but we didn't come to Stirling Bridge. We go to the Holy Trinity, we go to the castle, the monument in Bannockburn. And I couldn't believe it that tour companies, there was no parking for a start, but you could get over that, don't actually come here to Stirling Bridge. So it made me more determined that, right, I need to make this work. We get up to Bannockburn and I say, how many times have you been to Bannockburn? He said, I've been here once. How could you only be here once? He went, well, I'm driving to maybe Skye. Bannockburn gets three minutes on the motorway. When I see the Saltire, I start talking about Bannockburn, and as soon as we hit the castle, we need to talk about other things. So I've got about 3 minutes, and I couldn't believe that that's the amount of effort that went in for major companies into our two most famous battles. So again, it made me launch the tours, and aye, I've not welcomed thousands of folk, but I've spoke to more than 1,000 people, maybe a couple of thousand people, because on our days off, we go up to the battlefield, we just chat and welcome folk, or we park at the King's Park for the free parking, and we walk up to the castle and we welcome folk up to the castle. And for to have 3 iconic places in Stirling, we're blessed. We've got the castle, the monument and the battlefield. There's nothing up at the castle in the car park. Me and Molly go up and we chat to everybody sitting on the wall on the right hand side. They've all got their backs to the battlefield here. And the amount of times we point out to tourists from all over the world, that's where William Wallace had his greatest victory. And I think the castle and the monument and Bannockburn experience, I think they could work a lot closer together. I think they could work a lot closer together with the societies as well. So, as a welcoming news here today, I'm also want to put a welcome out to the National Trust, Historic Scotland, the Wallace Monument, the Stirling Council, who are my employers. Don't boo me. They not for the tours, but for another job. They all need to work together, but we need to learn to work with them as well. I think there's a lot of hurt with the time it's taken for things like the Bell of the Brae, for the monument here to Andrew de Murray and William Wallace, and all the hoops that we are having to jump through. I think we need to be as welcoming to them as we want them to be as welcoming to us. So how was your lockdown? I walked Molly a lot and about a mad fence. And once about the mad fence, well, what can I do next? I've got 7 heraldic shields. I've got Andrew de Murray and William Wallace. And then I've got Sir John de Graham, Sir John Stewart of Boncolt and Macduff of Fife. William, Macduff of Fife, I'm of Fife. I played in Macduff Castle as a child. We've got Macduff Castle in Eastweens in Fife. And we've got the Rose, Isabella Macduff's, the Rose in between Macduff of Fife and King Robert the Bruce. And then we've got the good Sir James Douglas. And it's good to see Keith wearing his Andrew de Murray t-shirt here. We've got some for sale in the rugby club afterwards. The profits for the t-shirts and the hoodies are going to the societies. So this is getting split between the Guardians of Scotland Trust and the Wallace Oak Project, and then it will go to the Wallace Society William Wallace afterwards once the monument's unveiled there, the tree's unveiled there on the 23rd of October this year. And this year, so if you buy one of these today, the £5 profits will go to one of the societies that we hold dear to our hearts. So I've got a wee experiment, and I'm glad Ted brought you in a wee bit closer, because I've got a quote here from David R. Ross. It's a quote about Robert the Bruce, so if you forgive me, but I think it's apt. Davy says in one of his books about Robert the Bruce, he managed to overcome the divisions and bring Scotland together as a single unit, uniting the various factions to form a coherent front. Sometimes it was done through bargaining, sometimes through promise of position, sometimes it was done through bloodshed and the force of arms. I'm no advocating bloodshed on my next point. And sometimes through sheer force of personality. This was neatly summed up by the writer Agnes Mute Mackenzie when she wrote, Robert the Bruce knew Scotland, knew every class of her people, as no man who ruled here before or since has done. It was he who asked of her a miracle, and she accomplished it. And that's an extract from A Passion for Scotland. I think William Wallace knew every class of her people as well. And as Gary said and Ted said, not all of our people know Andrew de Murray. So we need to get this statue built here. We can change that. So I think we need our own miracle here. I think we need to start imagining the statue. It's built, it's here in front of us. We need to try and understand where the powers that be are coming from, and they need to understand us. So let's start offering the hand of friendship and be as welcoming as possible. Can you imagine the statue built? Can you? Can everybody imagine it built? Right, let's give a wee applause, just a wee applause to start with, because let's thank the Guardians of Scotland Trust for all the work that they've done. Keep the applause going. The lights are getting turned on. Let's keep that applause going. Somebody's come in with a big donation. I've got this big donation. I don't know. Maybe his name's on my t-shirt. I've no idea, my hoodie, but we need a big donation. We get the planning permission. Come on, let's get going. Let's get the applause going louder. We've got the planning permission. We've got a start date. Let's go.
Yeah.
Sorry, not COVID-23 hits. Right, sorry. But the building starts. We start building it.
Yeah.
It's complete. And it's unveiled. Imagine how you would feel. Let's hear some noise from this statue